Hey, this is my week 2 discussion. So based off of the information that was given, I understand completely Ms. Patel's idea of making sure that the whole school is meeting the diverse needs of all of their students. It's essential that when we look at the group of population, we kind of figure out what works best for each student rather than what works best for the school. Um, so when we're going into Ms. Diaz's proposal, I understand targeting student needs and high and low expectations. However, I didn't agree with that concept as much as I agreed with Mr. Yang's proposal. The positive of Ms. Diaz's proposal is that the instruction is very targeted. We're looking at students, we're understanding their academic background, and we're adjusting from there. So if a student is really high, we're challenging them. If a student is really low, we're trying to get them to meet and understand where the gap is so that they can meet grade level standards. However, that doesn't put into consideration more of an equal balance. Whereas Mr. Yang's proposal is we're differentiating the learning regardless of academics. A lot of the times, students learn best from one another. So even if a student is high and we sit them next to a low peer, if they interact really well together, the student that's kind of low can work best with a student that's high and kind of gauge that peer interaction. Sometimes like it's difficult. It really is a balance of student personalities rather than just sitting a high and a low together. Uh, the constraints are for his is the time demand. It's making sure that the students that are low are meeting that gap. So a lot of that would be making sure that there's small group instruction for those students that are lower, which necessarily doesn't mean um, they can't gain that. But I really do think that Mr. Yang's was a more understandable approach because we can't just take a group of kids that are high academics and put them in a classroom, and then take a group of kids that are low and put them in a classroom. They're gonna be able to learn off of one another that well. Um, so it's really essential that it's looked into that peer learning is a significant part of how students learn. And yeah, age is also a huge factor. So if we're looking at like kindergarteners, first graders, second graders, a lot of the time peer interaction is huge. When we're looking more into higher levels like middle and high school, obviously I can see putting a more targeted group together because then that peer factor becomes more of an essential thing as far as academics go, because then we're concerned about students feeling embarrassed of being far behind. So as far as that's concerned, I think that it really is gauging the fact of where the students are, how well they learn together, and what that would look like as far as if we do separate them, what is that going to look like? Are they going to still have that interaction with their peers? Because that is such a significant aspect into student learning, especially when they're at a young age. So that is the end of my discussion. Thank you for listening.